Hey there, Cobra DVS here, and this is going to be my 2012 sort of Game of the Year video, where I'm going to go through some of my favorite games, some of my least favorite games, and everything in between. So I have 4 lists, and I'm going to try and go quickly, but the 4 lists are my top 10 sort of modern games of the year, or not my top 10, I'm sorry, my top modern games of the year, my top retro games of the year, my top, let's see, I have some honorable mentions, and then disappointments. So there's 4 lists, and I guess we'll just go ahead and get started with the top 5. Well, no, we'll do the retro games first. And these are in no particular order, but these are 4 games, and I only chose 4, that I got this year that I really enjoyed. You know, I got a lot of games this year. Every single Saturn game behind me I got this year. And I got some other great ones too. But in choosing 4 though, these were the 4 that really resonated with me. And I have a big problem of getting a bunch of games but really not playing them. Like half of my Saturn games I haven't even played. So I do have a problem with doing that. So some of these could be hidden gems and I just haven't played them. But that's sort of why I'm shifting gears and only collecting games that I really want to play right now. But these are the 4 that I picked. The first one is for the Genesis, and it's Castlevania Bloodlines. An excellent game, an excellent Castlevania game at that. Sort of plays like the NES games, but other than that, it really is great. It's an excellent game. I really enjoyed that one this year. This was one that I got mostly because it's just rare, and it turns out that it's actually a really fun game too. And when Cinemassacre, you know, the AVGN site, they did a, or Mike from the site did a top 10 hidden gems on the Super NES. I want to say this was number 1, and it's Wild Guns. Yeah, it's a Western shooter, very arcade-like, but it's a lot of fun too. So it's a shame it's so expensive, because it really is like the definition of a hidden gem. I really liked that game. And then the last 2 are Saturn games, and these are some of the first Saturn games that I actually got. This one I remember picking up at a video game store, and it's Mega Man 8. And you know what? I made a review on this. If you haven't seen that review, go ahead and check that out. But I'm really not much of a Mega Man fan, but I really liked this game. Thought it was a lot of fun. And then this one was kind of one of those games where I got, it's like, yeah, it's expensive, but then I ended up really liking it, and as I thought I would, because I've heard it's fantastic. It's Saturn Bomberman, and this was one of my favorite Saturn pickups. Not just because it's a great game, but it's also collectible, but as far as actually playing the game, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It reminds me of Super Bomberman 1 and 2 on the Super Nintendo. Super Bomberman 2 was my favorite Bomberman. Before. This might be my favorite now, so, but it reminded me a lot of that, and this game's a hell of a lot of fun. So those are 4 games I picked that I got this year that I really liked for the retro systems. Now, it's for one thing to keep in mind, it's hard for me to remember what games I got this year alone. I ended up getting rid of a lot of games this summer, so just that whole thing sort of jogged my memory. And some games I don't quite remember if I got or whatever, but I know I got those 4 this year, and those are 4 games that I really enjoyed. So, alright, let's see, what do we have? Let's go ahead and do the honorable mentions this year. So I picked 5 games, and they're all current and last generation games, I guess. So, these are, I got 3 handheld games here. These were all candidates for being some of my favorite games of the year, but didn't quite make the list. Mario Kart 7, phenomenal, phenomenal Mario Kart game, a blast online, a blast to play with friends, probably one of the best Mario Kart games out there. Super Mario 3D Land is the next one. Now, this game was a slight disappointment. It's still fantastic, but it was a slight disappointment because it's sort of linear. It plays very much like a 2D side-scrolling Mario, but just in 3D. There's not much exploration like a Mario 64 or a Sunshine would give you, but it was still really good. And then the last 3DS game, Kid Icarus Uprising. Now it's a shame the controls are kind of wonky in this game, because if they weren't, it'd be fantastic. And it's still really good. But the controls really held it back from being super addicting and awesome. Okay, so 2 more games. One for the Wii U. It's New Super Mario Bros. U. You know, I really enjoyed this game. It's probably the best New Super Mario Bros. Game out there. And the reason it didn't really make the top 10 is because, well, frankly, it's just a side-scrolling Mario game. There's nothing exciting or nothing too mind-blowing here. It's fantastic, but it doesn't. It's a little too conservative to really warrant being one of the best games of the year. And then the last one is a game that didn't even come out this year. By the way, yeah, this list for my top 10 and even these honorable mentions, these very well could have been games that didn't come out this year. Okay, these are just games that I played and beat this year. So, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, Mario Kart 7 and Mario 3D Land might have been in my videos last year. They very well could have been. And if they were, well, my apologies. But they still belong here because they were great. Those were just honorable mentions anyway. But, yeah, so this one is Donkey Kong Country Returns for the original Wii. Really great. It's hard as hell, but it's a return to form for Donkey Kong series. I mean, I'm not a fan of the name, honestly, Donkey Kong Country Returns. It would have been cool if they had like a 4 or something like that, but it's still an excellent game. And I really think that they could do a lot with the Donkey Kong series on the Wii U, and especially on the 3DS. Aside, the new Donkey Kong Country on 3DS would be awesome. Okay, so 2 lists left here. Let's see, I've got my top games, my favorite games of the year, and then my biggest disappointments of the year. So why don't we go ahead and get through the disappointments first. I'll start with a couple of 3DS games, and I just got this one, and I just talked about it in my pickups video. Sonic Generations, just disappointing, not very good, had high expectations, or at least moderate expectations, and I just haven't really had much fun with it at all. Now this one is actually a game that I enjoyed, but its depth was really lacking, so I couldn't really be too pleased with it. It's Mario Tennis Open. I even did a review on this, but the online is fantastic, but the single player is just, you know, it's short, and it's kind of like the sort of thing where they expect you to play it a lot of times with every character, and I just don't care to do that. What I would really love is an RPG Mario sports game, you know, like we used to get, but they don't seem to enjoy making those anymore. And then the biggest disappointment this year, I only have 3 of them that I picked, was Assassin's Creed 3. I had mentioned this in my other pickups video that I just did. I'm not even that big of an Assassin's Creed fan, and I was hoping that this game would change my mind, and it didn't. I get so bored playing them. I don't know what it is. But Assassin's Creed 3 certainly didn't change my mind, and I don't see myself really picking up any of the future games in the series. Okay, so now we're down to my top games of the year, and I have 8 of them. And they're not necessarily in any particular order, but I will go ahead and sort of space them out accordingly by system. And we'll start with the we'll start with the Wii. Well, no, we won't start with the Wii. We'll start with the Xbox. Then we'll start with the let's see. I'm just sort of organizing them right here. We'll start with the Xbox, the Wii U, then the Wii, and yeah, we'll just go from there. Alright, so for the Xbox, I only had 2 games that I picked this year, and my first one was, I don't know, I feel kind of odd putting this on my favorite games of the year, but Doom 3 BFG Edition. Doom 3 is one of my favorite first-person shooters on the original Xbox, and I was pretty excited when they announced this version, and it's good, the graphics are nice and everything like that. I didn't finish this version, but it's still fantastic, really a little more action-packed than the original. Was more scary. This one's more action, but it's still a great game, and I had a lot of fun with it. And then this one was kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and it was a victim of poor timing for me because the Wii U came out like 2 weeks afterwards, so I really didn't get a lot of time with this. so much fun. So Doom 3 and Halo 4, especially Halo 4 way over Doom 3 if I'm being honest, were my favorite games of the year. Next we'll do Wii U. Only 2 Wii U games on the list. The first one is Darksiders 2. It's a kind of like a mix between Zelda and God of War and Castlevania Lords of Shadow, that kind of game. But the Zelda-esque parts of it with the puzzle solving and everything really made this game a lot of fun. And it's not only on Wii U, it's on PS3, Xbox 360, and it might even be on PC, I'm not sure. But I held off because I really wanted it, but I held off for the Wii U version, and I'm glad I did. Okay, so this next game very well could be my favorite game of the year. And I was actually just playing it. And the more I play it, the more I absolutely love this game. It's fantastic. It's Batman Arkham City Armored Edition. Now, I didn't play the original Arkham City, so I can't really speak for the differences, but the way this game uses the Wii U gamepad is really impressive. Excuse me, but yeah, so in fact, when I'm done with this video, I'll probably be playing this game. So, yeah, this game's fantastic. It's a great mix between, like, it reminds me of Spider-Man 2 on the original Xbox, and sort of like a Grand Theft Auto, just because of how it's open world. Fantastic. I cannot even recommend this game enough. It's phenomenal. Really like it. Okay, so now we're on to the last 2 systems, the Wii and the 3DS. Now, keep in mind, these aren't all games that came out this year, but these are my, some of my favorite, one of these is easily my favorite game of the year. But we'll go ahead and start with the only 3DS game that I included in my top list, and that's Ocarina of Time 3D. Loved it. It's an absolutely incredible game. I mean, when you hear about games that people always say are so good, and you always hear people like spouting off how good game X is and how good this game is. Well, Ocarina of Time is a game that people are always complimenting, and I had never played it. And after I beat Link to the Past, I knew I had to give this a shot, and I figured it'd be a perfect time to get it because it's on the 3DS. And oh my god, this game was awesome. Loved it. Loved it. Okay, so 2 Wii games, and then we'll get to my game, probably my game of the year. Alright, so this first one is an RPG, and I didn't finish it, unfortunately, but it was a lot of fun when I was playing it, and it's Xenoblade Chronicles. And I know Ballin' Nick, 1982, if you guys watch him, I think this was his game of the year. And if you're an RPG fan, I can easily see why that would be the case. But yeah, this game is a lot of fun. Really not much I can say about it. If you're GameStop, because this was a GameStop exclusive, you know, and I'm really happy they didn't put any sort of GameStop sticker on here, like a. So anyway, if your GameStop does have this game, go ahead and pick it up if you like RPGs. And even I don't even like RPGs that much, but I did enjoy this game quite a bit. A lot of people compared it to The Last Story, also on the Wii, and I think it was better. That was my opinion, but. Okay, so this game, I don't even know when this game came out. Okay, it came out in 2009, and I just got it this year, and I've only played a third of it, but it was enough to put on this list, and it's Metroid Prime Trilogy. So I never really played Metroid Prime, but I really enjoyed playing this one. I need to go play 2 and 3 still to really get full experience, I think. But yeah, so Metroid Prime Trilogy. A shame this game is expensive and hard to find, but it's excellent. Okay, now it's time for my game of the year, and this was really no decision or no contest. Absolutely enjoyed every second I put into this game, and it warrants buying a Wii if you ask me, considering this for cheap. Skyward Sword, wow. My second favorite Zelda game, right behind Link to the Past, just because that was my first one, and loved it. Brilliant game, worth getting a Wii for, excellent. So, that's everything, guys. That's my games of the year, my disappointments, and everything else like that. So I got a room tour coming up, so stick around, and we'll see you then. Could be hidden gems and I just haven't played them, but that's sort of why I'm shifting gears and only collecting games that I really want to play right now. But But these are the 4 that I picked. The first one is for the Genesis, and it's Castlevania Bloodlines. An excellent game, an excellent Castlevania game at that. Sort of plays like the NES games, but other than that, every single Saturn game behind me I got this year. And I got some other great ones too. But in choosing 4 though, these were the 4 that really resonated with me. And I have a big problem of getting a bunch of games but really not playing them. Like half of my Saturn games I haven't even played. So I do have a problem with doing that. So some of these, some of my least favorite games and everything in between. So I have 4 lists, and I'm going to try and go quickly, but the 4 lists are my top 10 sort of modern games of the year, or not my top 10, I'm sorry, my top modern games of the year, my top retro games of the year, my top, let's see, I have Hey there, Cobra DBS here, and this is going to be my 2012 sort of Game of the Year video, where I'm going to go through some of my favorite games, some honorable mentions, and then disappointments. So there's 4 lists, and I guess we'll just go ahead and get started with the top 5. Well, no, we'll do the retro games first, and these are in no particular order, but these are 4 games, and I only chose 4 that I got this year that I really enjoyed. You know, I got a lot of games this year.